Hello, welcome again to yet another edition of our environmental program follow up before COP27 and after COP27 in Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt. So the World Cup is over and everybody is back into business in the midst of these festive seasons. In a few days' time, people will be celebrating their Christmas. And of course, a lot of companies and government offices will be closed, so people will be home for holiday until next year. So I wish you all well, blessing, and safety in this season. Again, in Kenya, our children are having a long holiday with schools opening late in the month of January. So I hope they're going to find a constructive way of utilizing this time and with regard to restoring our ecological order. Now, I want to introduce Imunza, an organization that I had and that has come from far. And so it began as a concept in 2003. And it was at the idea stage until 2007 when we took our first initiative in terms of giving people a decent living or giving them hope. So what we did is me and my grandmother took an initiative of helping street boys in the Kawangware market. And we built a small house in satellite on her land, and we started giving them food and clean clothes, and of course a place to bathe. And so this went a long way, and the family, the whole family. Members decided that the land can be utilized to bring income. And so this project was seen as not viable. But the target was actually to repatriate these kids back to their families. This failed. Only 4 of them were able to go back, and right now they are family members. They are heading families. But the rest, we lost contact at around 2010. And so after that, I went to campus, and in 2012, during that year, we started an environmental waste solution program with my friends from Kawangware. The organization was called GAPCHA, self-help group. We used to collect kitchen waste and turn them into charcoal briquettes. And especially the main ingredient was the sugarcane, wastes. And so the other combustible materials were used as the fuel, though it was not clean energy, but we learned our lessons. We had a kiln and we had an incinerator, and so we really tried our best, depending on our means and the knowledge that was there back then. And so from there, as a youth leader, I was elected a youth leader for the Nairobi Bishopric in the Orthodox Church in 2007. And during that time, one environmental program that we undertook as an initiative was to plant 100 trees. So these trees were donated by ourselves, and we planted in all churches, and as a symbol of reviving that youth fraternity. And so during campus, I presented the charcoal briquettes on the Interclub and Cultural Week. And so we were given an award by the the VC, Professor Galgalo, and one of the lecturer, Dr. Robert, who took students through the environmental study university common course. And so it was a moment of reckoning, but unfortunately our machine was stolen because it was made up of metal, and metal was such a very important asset for the recycling in the metal industry. What I came to learn later is that when they vandalize metal, they shred them or beat them and ship them back to China for reuse. So it was a quagmire between the three R's of environmental care: the reuse, the recycling, and the refuse. So, and here we are trying to do another, from another dimension, another solution. And so that was not, we were not deterred anyway. I then resulted to develop an e-book, which was called the East African Orthodox e-book, just in an effort to try and minimize the printing of books, which in one way or the other translates to cutting down of trees, and so for paper production. And so that was part of the small solution. Unfortunately, the app was not downloaded, and after 6 years, the app did not survive in the Play Store. So 2013 was such an important year. Other than that, I did another program, though these ended in around 2018. 2018, yes, around 2018. And during 2018, we started another program called Dagoretti Talent Festival Show, which unfortunately the name was claimed by another member of our society called MC Kim. He said that Dagoretti Festival was his name, and so though we undertook a talent show at the Kinyanjui Technical Grounds in Satellite, and it was a very important performing art session, which again led me to have political aspirations, though I've been having them since 2012 when I joined ODM. But this time I didn't have a party that could take me as a youth with my meager resources. But there came a party with Dagoretti members in it, headed by Dr. Ekuru Okot, when I thought it was a constitutional moment. And so somebody who was in the panel of experts who drafted our constitution will make a better president in terms of aligning the laws and actualizing them. And so I went with the party, and then the party was neutral. It wasn't either left or right, and so it was that way. And so this was a very important political message and, of course, persuasion. Unfortunately, it was a new idea whose time has not come in Africa. And so, well, I was unsuccessful, but it was a very good initiative. And so all through this time, also engaged in scout engagements since 2012. It has always been since when I was in primary, and a lot of ways of surviving or having sustainable living I learned from the scout movement all through to university. And so the scouting idea was also inculcated in the Dagoretti Talent Festival show, but unfortunately the talent that we scouted will not be utilized at that time because of the meager resources again. So in after 2017, when I vied, I got new partners and we decided to start a free elementary school, which was called Hope of the World. And so we started this elementary school for free at a place called Kabiria. And so we decided that we are going to screen whether these children come from humble backgrounds. And so we tried, and we found that we have found almost, we started with 30 kids, and my friend Tony started a feeding program every Saturday, and it became a success. And so we in 2 years, we had almost 100 kids. And so we were stretched of resources, and of course, we were not able to pay teachers. Unfortunately, COVID came and this was closed, but we had also received a lot of volunteers from around the world. And this was another big experience that we collected from that initiative. And so during this time between 2014 and 2018, I also attended an Agenda 2063 by UN. And this was very captivating because I came to learn a lot of things that the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals, did not achieve their targets. And so I also came to learn about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, during that symposium for the Agenda 2063, I learned a lot. And we are going to have another session where we are going to explain Agenda 2063, which is the Africa we want. And so this is something that the independent generation is leaving for the post-independent generation, youth and leaders who will come after. And so the other one was a focus on the small arms proliferation, which again was a very important security meeting. Again, with people from all over Africa, and getting all these perspectives and realizing that we are in the same problem, and we are going to, we committed to several agendas, which we as Imunza organization are still looking at, and especially from a political point of view. And so we also in 2018 had an environmental roundtable held by the Orthodox Church and the International Ecumenical Movement Kenya chapter. And so this was very captivating. And after that, we joined hands with TAR, Back to Basics, other groups, interested groups, including Light of the World and BRICS Generation, and we did a cleanup, just an initiative to show that we are committed to environmental care programs. And so that went on well, and until I attended another program on chemical waste and other hazardous waste, and also learning a lot about the cosmetic industry, the luxury industry, and how much chemical we consume. And so I went back to school in 2018 to undertake my MBA on social entrepreneurship, and of course in 2021 God also helped me, and I went back to school where I'm doing my MA in mission studies. And so recently I attended AFLI SDG consultation meeting focusing on SDG 17, which I'll be talking about in the next session. So I'll finish by highlighting in 2022, I also vied for, like in 2017, for the position of Member of County Assembly for Riruta here in Nairobi. Again, a second unsuccessful attempt, but we did a peace campaign which was very elating. And during 2017, we had done a clinic and a seven-a-side competition in Riruta Satellite and in Riruta Stadium. And so this gave us an opportunity to learn. And so during this peace campaign, we were able to participate in a walk, in a performing art concert, and of course we did our very own sport bonanza, and we had over 40 teams that played seven-a-side. This is the kind of game that we adopted, and of course other sporting activities like boxing and taekwondo. And so by and by, the election was peaceful, and we thank God. So I'll also be talking about sustainable development goals, and of course the the 8 Istanbul principles of partnership, and of course talking about SDG 17 on partnership, and of course how we are preparing to attend or to participate in the SDG summit review meeting in New York. Thank you. Continue to subscribe and follow me on Isaac Meruri Imunza on YouTube and other socials, and of course get updates from our website imunza.org. Thank you and be blessed.